The disorder I chose was Down syndrome.
Down syndrome is a genetic disorder caused by abnormal cell division that results in extra genetic material from chromosome 21. This genetic disorder varies in severity and causes lifelong intellectual disability and developmental delays, and in some people it causes health problems. Genetic material is stored in genes, and the genes carry the codes which are responsible for all of our inherited traits, and they are grouped along chromosomes. The nucleus of each cell contains 23 pairs of chromosomes, and half of those are inherited from each parent. And Down syndrome occurs when an individual has a full or partial extra copy of chromosome 21. This additional genetic material alters the course of development and causes characteristics associated with Down syndrome. And a few of the common physical traits of Down syndrome are low muscle tone, an upward slant to the eyes, and a single deep crease across the center of the palm. And in the picture below, you are able to see that chromosome 21 has one extra chromosome.
Signs and symptoms of Down syndrome are at birth. When babies are born, they usually have certain characteristics and signs, and they are flat facial features, small head and ears, short neck, bulging tongue, eyes that slant upward, oddly shaped ears, poor muscle tone. And an infant with Down syndrome can be born at normal size, but it will develop more slowly than a child without the condition. And usually mothers age 35 and older are more likely to have a baby with Down syndrome than younger mothers. And the risk increases the older the mother is. And other parents who are at a greater risk of having a child with Down syndrome usually have people with a family history of Down syndrome or people who carry the genetic translocation. There is no single standard treatment for Down syndrome. Treatments are based on each individual's physical and intellectual needs as well as their strengths and limitations. And people with Down syndrome are able to receive proper care while living at home. And a child with Down syndrome will likely receive care from a team of health professionals, physicians, special educators, speech therapists, occupational therapists, physical therapists, and social workers. And usually these professionals are there to interact with the children who have Down syndrome to provide stimulation and encouragement. And people with Down syndrome are at a greater risk for a number of health problems and conditions than are those who do not have Down syndrome. And many of these associated conditions may require immediate care right after birth. And sometimes there is occasional treatment throughout their childhood and the rest of their life. Some relevant and interesting facts about this disorder are that there are 3 types of Down syndrome. There's trisomy 21, which means there's an extra copy of chromosome 21 in every cell. This is usually the most common form of Down syndrome. There's also mosaicism, which occurs when a child is born with an extra chromosome in some of the cells, but not all of their cells. And usually people with this type of Down syndrome tend to have fewer symptoms than those with trisomy 21. There's also translocation, and in this type of Down syndrome, children have only an extra part of chromosome 21. There are 46 total chromosomes, however, one of them has an extra piece of chromosome 21 attached. And in 1983, the average life expectancy of a person with Down syndrome was 25 years old, and today it's 60. Since the 1970s, public schools are required by law to provide a free and appropriate education to children with Down syndrome. And 1 in every 691 babies in the U.S. is born with Down syndrome, and it's making it the most common chromosomal condition. And the Down syndrome karyotype shows a total of 47 chromosomes instead of 46.